everybody, it is Blonde Blitz time. Let's go.
He's had, but I still like the Commanders.
I'm also tough.
DeMar Chase. I'm looking at that Cincinnati team against the Cleveland Browns.
Well, as soon as I saw the rain last night, I was wondering if that might be a little bit of a factor as well.
How we play that week is really going to be more impactful.
With the Raiders, who got Jacoby Myers back.
The same thing with Joe Burrow. You just expect Joe Burrow to do it because he's been to a Super Bowl.
It's time to send in the Blitz with Deb Whitcas and the Blonde Blitz.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Blonde Blitz. I'm your host, Deb Whitcas. Week 3 is in the books. How crazy was it? And we are headed fast into week number 4. We've got a great show for you today. My special guest is Tyrone Poole, not one, but a 2-time Super Bowl champion. We will get his hot takes on week 3 and hear all about his football career and his current endeavors. New to the Blonde Blitz, comedian Haley Brooks joins us for some week 3 comedy. Also, newcomer Mel the Clothing tells us how to get the perfect game day fit. Chef Virginia, private chef to the NFL athletes, feeds us tailgate snacks. I can't wait. Injury expert Brian Scott from the Injured List podcast brings us up to date on league injuries and what that means for the teams. Sports betting expert Alex White is here from Vegas to give you your best bet for week number 4. Fantasy expert Ballers Meg gives us her fantasy picks for week number 4. Intuitive reader 333 Ask Carrie looks at her power deck for the Chargers versus Giants game. And finally, Ben Troupe is out again this week, but Commissioner Cooper from TSS Fantasy is here to help me with week 4 game picks. We got a full packed show for you guys today. Sorry we were a little bit late. Let's get everything started with headlines.
Now to Deb Whitcas with the Blonde Blitz headlines.
Week 3 brought more late game drama across the league. 7 games were decided in the final 3 minutes or in overtime, tying the most in a single week since 1970. Tampa Bay pulled it off again, becoming the first team in Super Bowl era to get a game-winning score in the final minute of each of its first 3 games. 6 teams, Buffalo, Indy, the Chargers, Philly, San Francisco, and Tampa Bay, all improved to 3-0. Now let's move on to the players of the week. In the NFC, Offensive Player of the Week went to Chicago quarterback Caleb Williams, who threw for 298 yards and 4 touchdowns with a 142 passer rating in a 31-14 win over Dallas. It's his first Career Player of the Week award. Defensive Player of the Week was Minnesota's cornerback Isaiah Rodgers, who forced 2 fumbles, returned 1 for a touchdown, and added an 87-yard pick 6, the first player ever to do so in 1 game. It's his first Career Player of the Week honor. And Special Teams Player of the Week went to Philadelphia's Jordan Davis, who blocked a field goal return for a touchdown. It capped the Eagles' comeback. It's his first Career Player of the Week award. In the AFC, Offensive Player of the Week went to Indianapolis running back Jonathan Taylor, who rushed for 102 yards and 3 touchdowns in the Colts' 41-20 win over Tennessee. It's his 5th Career Player of the Week. And second in a row, actually, remember from last week. Defensive Player of the Week was Chargers safety Derwin James, who posted 12 tackles, a sack, and 4 tackles for a loss in a 23-20 win. It's his first Career Player of the Week award. And finally, Special Teams Player of the Week went to Cleveland's Andre Schmidt, who nailed a 55-yard winner at the buzzer, and it was perfect for the Browns' comeback over Green Bay. It's his first Career Player of the Week honor. That's your Week 3 headlines, guys. Block kicks, return touchdowns, and late game fireworks to finding yet another wild Sunday. I'm so excited to have my special guest this week. He was the first defensive player to be drafted by the Carolina Panthers. ever. Basically, he had a 13-year career in the NFL, winning not one, but 2 Super Bowls. He's going to help me out with hot takes first, and then we'll learn all about his football career. Everybody, please help me welcome 2-time Super Bowl champion, Tyrone Poole.
Next caller is Deb Whitcas, who says she has some really hot takes.
Hi, Tyrone. How are you?
Hello, Deb. How you doing? And thank you for allowing me to be on the Blonde Blitz. So I think I'm ready. I think I'm used to playing in a pressure defense. So
there we go.
Let's bring the blitz. Let's get it going, right?
Let's go. Let's talk about this crazy week 3, right? So much happened.
Yes.
First off, the Panthers beat the Falcons 30-0. Your old team. You were drafted by them. Do you think this could be their season? At least a comeback season.
Yeah. Well, I have to say this as well. You know, I reside in Atlanta, so I'm kind of torn. You know,
okay, that makes sense.
Drafted by Carolina, played in Carolina, but I also I live in Atlanta, so I got to be careful of what I say, right? But anyways, yeah, Carolina. You know, this is the early part of the season. Let's be honest. This is the early part of the season. We see it year in and year out. Some teams start 0-2. Some teams start 2-0, 3-0. And the second half of the season, they go on a down spiral, right? I remember when I was in New England and we started the season 1-2. We lost 2 straight games. We won the first one, then we lost 2 straight. And then we went in and had a team meeting. That means no coaches around. And we just aired it out as players. Okay. Next thing I know, we went on a 21-game winning streak and won back-to-back Super Bowls. So, again, I say all that to say it's good for Carolina that they are, you know, they had a great win against Atlanta, a shutout that is very hard to do in the NFL. But again, it's a long season, especially since they added 17 games now.
Absolutely. And speaking of the Falcons, what do you think the problem is with the Falcons right now? They're a really talented team. They should be winning games.
Yeah, well, everybody, to be honest with you, everybody's talented. I think it comes down to chemistry. You can have a lot of talent on the field, but if everyone is not on the same page, if the offensive line don't believe in the quarterback don't believe in the wide receivers, or the quarterback can believe in the offensive line and believe in the wide receivers, but you don't have that safety valve receiver yet. So I think the Falcons are still hunting. They're trying to sort out, right? It's like playing Uno, right? Uno, you get dealt all your cards, right? You try to put all your yellows together, all your blues together, so I think that's what the Falcons are doing. They're trying to put everything together, but I do think they have enough talent.
Yeah, I mean, they did like Michael Penix, Drake London. I mean, Ray McCourt. Like, there's so much talent on that team. I pick the Falcons every time, and I've been losing my pick'ems. So
somebody else.
Right. Well, let's talk about the Eagles had an insane block kicks everywhere this last week, right? The Eagles field goal, Dave's blocked the Rams for the win, ran in the touchdown. Jets took the lead minutes later against the Bucs due to a block kick. And then there was an extra point blocked in the Kansas City versus Giants game. Let's go over the Eagles game first. What did you think of that whole situation, the ending there?
Well, believe it or not, that is practice. It's practice. Like, there are 3 phases of the game. You never know which phase of the game is going to win the football game, regular season, the playoffs, or the Super Bowl. As I can say, if it had not been for the special teams, Adam Vinatieri kicking that field goal, 2 of those Super Bowls we might not be claiming. But they practice. They put pressure on the kicker. They put pressure on the field goal block unit. So you never know when those things are going to play dividends, and it played dividends all throughout this week. We saw it, and it gave teams that should have lost an opportunity to win, and those teams that should have won, they let it slip.
Right. Right. And you heard later, Carter and Davis talking about the 2 block kicks, and like they planned those, like they were on it. They saw how low the kick was going to be. I'm at the Rams practices, and I've seen Cardi make way higher kicks, so I'm like, what's going on with Cardi, to get those low kicks. But yeah, no, it's amazing how the extra points and the field goals are making a difference this season already. One thing I wanted to get your take on, Puka Nacua got a penalty for taunting. I don't know if you saw it or not, but he basically just did like the Superman thing, but did it away from a player. And he still got a taunting penalty. Do you like this new rule? Do you or what are your thoughts on it?
Well, I think the fans come to the game to see 2 things. I say 2 things. They come to see points put on the board, right? And they come to drink beer. Now, I'm just joking. But,
this is all about beer and the fun, the energy.
But they come to see, the antics of the players, right? And that is part of the game. Now, I think it should be a problem when you are directing your antics at someone, right? Or if you're using something as a prop that demonstrates something negative, right? But other than that, I think you just got to let them play, let them have fun, right? Let them have fun. That's what the players want to do. That's what the fans come to see. So, but sometimes I think the referees, they kind of get confused by the league office. They changing the rules every year. You can't do this, you can't do that. So I think sometimes the referees get confused and they call things that should not be called, and things that should be called, they don't call them. So I just say let them play, as long as it's not a distraction to the individual, the team itself, or the opponent. Then let them have fun.
Yeah. And I love the touchdown dances are my favorite. Like they cannot do away with those. Like I will be so upset.
Exactly.
Let's talk more about the Ravens a little bit. Derrick Henry, like he fumbled twice now in 2 games in a row. Obviously, one of the best football players in the league right now. Is he just having a rough start to the season, or do we think he's on the other side of his career?
Well, I saw the game and I saw, one of the fumbles, and it was just a punch out. It was a punch out. Defensive, we're taught as defensive players, right? Push the ball, right? Yeah. So when someone has the running back secured, which, hey, he's a big guy, right? So Derrick Henry's a big guy. Hey, we got him secured. Now somebody come up and punch the ball out. And Derrick Henry, he doesn't want to go down softly, right? So he's going to try to get those extra yards. And that's when the defensive player came about, from what I saw, and punched the ball. So I don't think it was like fumbleitis with Derrick Henry. I just think it was a situation where the defensive player made an awareness type of play, and ball came out. So, that just happens in the game.
Got it. Yep. It's called football, right? So speaking of football, I ask this with every interview that I do. Why did you start to play football? Why do you love it?
Well, the one question I do get is like, did I ever think that I would make it to the NFL, or was I trying to get to the NFL?
That was my next question.
Yeah, it kind of goes into your question. I never chased the NFL. I never said that I wanted to be in the NFL. And that's the truth. Now, I had my favorite players. My favorite team was the Dallas Cowboys. Now, I don't know if I would be a Cowboy fan right now if I was small, but back in the day, that's when they had Danny White and Tony Dorsett, and, so I was a real big Cowboys fan, right? So, but I never said I wanted to play in the NFL. What I did was I pursued my physical abilities for sports, right? And as I got better and better in my physical activities, then my physical activities began to mature, and coaches started to notice, and they said, hey, you need to play football. And still yet, I didn't pursue the NFL. I just pursued, okay, now using my athletic abilities to play football. And next thing I know, I'm in the NFL. But long story short, I never grew up saying I want to be in the NFL. I grew up just playing sports, loving to go outside and jump, run, play all kinds of sports. And I just gravitated with my abilities towards football.
And talk about your abilities in college. You went to Fort Valley State, right?
Yes.
And what was there any time at that point that you knew you could go pro?
Yeah, it was really now a lot of people don't know this as well, Deb. We missed a major point in my life movie, right?
Okay.
So we want them to see the entire movie from the beginning to the end. Right?
Let's talk about it.
Let me rewind this a little bit. Hit the rewind button. Let's go.
All
back
right, rewind.
Back. I quit football in high school. I quit football my senior year. Now that's the most important year of a senior if you want to go to college, right? I quit halfway during the season, and really didn't know if I was going to go to college and play sports. But so happened there was an alumnus from Fort Valley State who was a teacher at my high school. I went to LaGrange High School, LaGrange, Georgia, which is the second winningest high school program in the state of Georgia behind Valdosta High School.
A lot of players come out of Georgia. A lot.
Yes.
Even still now.
Yes. I think I'll say this on the sidebar and I'll continue. I think our third string during the years of the 80s and 90s and the 2000s, the third string would be a starter at somebody else's high school. It's kind of like the Miami Hurricanes back when they had all that talent. And I think they say Willis McGahee was a backup, I think they said. So look how talented they were. So it's the same thing at LaGrange High School. We just had so much talent. But anyways, I quit football. There was an alumnus from Fort Valley State. She was a teacher. She knew talent. Her son had gone to Fort Valley State. So just like anybody who's a graduate of their school, they're going to recruit for their alma mater, right? So she knew I was talented. And she said, hey, you want to go to Fort Valley State? I didn't know anything about Fort Valley State from the man in the moon. All I heard, Deb, was an opportunity to put the helmet and the shoulder pads back on. And I ran track as well. So an opportunity to run track and field again. And that's how I ended up at Fort Valley. And from that moment, I grabbed the reins and I said, I'm not going to let go this time. So I rode it right on into the NFL.
Absolutely. And let's talk about that NFL moment. You were the first CB to be drafted by the Panthers. You were selected number 22 in the first round of the 95 draft. Take me back to that moment.
Oh, man. Wow. That was, again, I just got to say that again. Sometimes people don't understand, Deb, coming from a Division II HBCU, historical Black college and university, Carolina, they selected Kerry Collins as the number one overall draft pick. And I get that, right? You got to start with a franchise quarterback.
Right.
But then defensively, right, they could have chosen anybody. They could have chosen somebody from USC, somebody from the University of Texas, Penn State, Notre Dame, to build the defense around. But they said, we're going to take a chance on this kid from a small institution, Fort Valley State University. We're going to make him our first ever defensive selection in team history. There would never be another number one. So I take pride with that. But just that moment alone. Yes.
I just got chills. You telling me that story, I just got chills all over my body. Congratulations. That's huge. Not many people get that moment.
Yes. There would never be another first. But that moment, coming up, I grew up, I like to call it financially challenged. We didn't have a lot of funds, government assistance. I saw the struggle, and to get drafted, to get that call from Bill Polian, Dom Capers, saying that, hey, how would you like to be a Carolina Panther? And when they asked me that question, the audience where I had my draft party, it just erupted. I heard everybody, and I'm like, they had made the announcement. The Panthers had turned in the card to Paul Tagliabue at that time, who was the commissioner. And I'm talking to the owners, the front office, and we hung up the phone. They told me, hey, we're glad to have you. The GM's, the general manager's assistant was going to give me a call, set up, information for me to get to Carolina. So I hung up the phone.
It happens fast too. You're like next day.
It happens real fast. Yes. And, I'm like my agent, he was there, we embraced, and then I went outside, and, I still get emotional about it because it's a paradigm shifting moment, right? Mm-hmm. To go from the have-nots to the haves, right? To go from struggling to like, okay, which one do you want, right? And to see, my mom and dad, my mom, she was boohooing. Now my dad, we're gonna try to suck it up, right? But he was consoling, hugging my mom, and I went over and embraced them, and I had a few tears coming out of my eyes, but I knew that the reporters were waiting on me too, so I hurried into the bathroom and kind of wiped my eyes and came back out, and I think I might have still had that that little crying in your voice.
As you should.
Yeah.
As you absolutely should. Well, let's go into another amazing, life-changing moment. You are a 2-time Super Bowl champion. Let's discuss quickly what each of those moments when the buzzer went out and you realized you won 2 Super Bowls and your team won 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah. I always joke with people. They say, hey, you played with Tom Brady. I said, Tom Brady played with me. Right. but no, the first Super Bowl, that was a magical moment. I always describe it in a way of life. It's like having your first child, right? Yes. Your first child, that's special. That was special, right? And then the second Super Bowl, that one was the hardest, right? Because we went back to back. That one was the hardest. Why was it the hardest? Because when you are last year's champions, everybody's basing their season off of you. Yep. So you're going to always get their best. And for the second straight year, right? The second year, we took everybody's best, and they still couldn't beat us, right? Yeah. So the first one was the wow, really? I can't believe it. But the second one was the one that was earned the most because everybody was preparing for us.
And it's really hard to do. I mean, how many teams have won back-to-back Super Bowls? Not many. I wish I had the stats for this one, but it's extreme. I mean, I know Dallas did it as well.
The Pittsburgh Steelers. The Pittsburgh Steelers did it twice in the 70s. Denver. Now I know this by heart because once you've accomplished something, you got to find out who's all in that class, right?
Exactly. So, yes.
Yeah. The Pittsburgh Steelers did it in the 70s. They did it back to back, right? I think they went 74, 75, 73, 74, and then 76 and 77, I think. Something like that. But it was them, then the Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos did it, Mike Shanahan. And then the Patriots, we did it. And I want to say that it was the Green Bay Packers went back to back. And that was it. That was it.
We have
from my recollection.
Oh, someone here, one of our audience is saying 72-73 Miami Dolphins. Is that?
Yes, there you go. That's the other team. Yes.
We got a Dolphins fan in the house here.
now I will say this to all the Philadelphians, right? The Eagles.
That
me. Super Bowl Okay, so I'm talking to you, Deb, and all the Eagles fans. Now, y'all should applaud the Patriots for giving y'all that Super Bowl. The one where Belichick had they were like, how come he's not playing his best defensive back, right? What's going on, right? That Super Bowl was a gift. It was a gift. I'm not going to say why, but that would have been the second time that a team would have gone back to back, because the Patriots had won the Super Bowl before, and they should have beaten the Eagles in that Super Bowl. But I won't say no more about that.
We had the Philly special. No. So let's talk a little bit. You're now retired. What are your passions now off the field?
Well, right now, that's a great question, and thank you for asking that. Right now, I am the head coach of women's flag football at Alabama State University. Alabama State University is the first D1 program to offer flag football to women. The NCAA has not quite voted on it, but they're going to vote on it, I believe, in January, voting that women's flag football is an emerging sport on the NCAA level. But I am presently the head coach of women's flag football at Alabama State University, and I love it. I'm like, those ladies, you should see them. They are so into it. They want that information, and it's some great talent out there as well. My daughter.
I love it. I do a lot of coverage on girls flag football for Sports Illustrated, and I'm out there with the girls. I'm out there on the field interviewing them, and they are so passionate. The Rams 2 weeks ago just had a girls flag jamboree. There was 3,000 girls playing on the field. It was an amazing sight. I teared up when I saw this is the one. This is the future of girls football, and even the Olympics coming up 2028. Women's flag football will be in the Olympics. It's huge. Congratulations on that. How far do you see it going?
I'm going to ride it as far as, I have passion for it. Again, my purpose is to help these ladies or anybody to that point, but particularly here in flag football. I want to help these ladies be champions, not only on the field, but off the field. I want them to win games and win championships on the field, but I want them to win the biggest game of life, which is off the field. So all of the ups and downs, the highs and lows, the what to do and the what not to do, I want to give them the principles of life. So when they leave me, and they go into their own lives, into society, then they will be way better than I was at 18, at 21, at 24. So hopefully one day when they get married, and I kind of told them this, I said, when y'all get married and y'all standing up there at the altar, and the pastor says, if there's anybody who says, that sees that they should not be married, I told them, I'm going to stand up, I'm going to say, don't marry her. She can't catch the curl route.
Oh no. That's funny.
But I tell them that I just tell them that because it's more than just being a coach, it's being a family member. So that's why I kind of gave that joke to them. When they go to get married, I want to be there, right? So I don't want to just be a coach for 4 years in your life. I want to coach you from your freshman year and hopefully coach you until I have no more breath in my body on this earth.
That's awesome. And I'm sure they appreciate you so much. Well, Tyrone, thank you so much for joining the Blonde Blitz. This was a blast. You have to come back again. And
yes, please. Thank you.
We'll talk more. Thank you so much. We'll see you soon.
All right, thank you. Right.
Bye-bye. All right, guys. Now it's time for a little week 3 funny with Blonde Blitz newcomer, Haley Brooks.
Okay, I got one for you. What did the wide receiver say to the football? Catch you later. Yeah, my jokes suck. That's why I watch the Blonde Blitz.
Oh my God. Hello.
How are you?
I'm fabulous. How are you?
Good. Welcome.
Thanks so much for having me. It's crazy. That's also why I watch the Blonde Blitz. We have so much in common.
It's so funny. Crazy week 3, right?
Oh, insane. The comebacks, the stops, the everything that was happening. But before we dive into it, I want to piggyback off of what Tyrone said really quick, because that was a phenomenal interview. And he had mentioned that his first Super Bowl win, he equated it to like his firstborn child, and that Tom Brady got to play with him. And Tyrone, in case you are still watching, I just want to let you know that my firstborn child, I am from Philadelphia, my firstborn child is named Brady. So I just want to let you know. We got a lot in common, homie.
Might the dad be a Boston fan?
The dad is a Boston fan. That's how. So that specific
one.
Patriots Eagles Super Bowl, you could say you handed it to us all we want, but we're here, aren't we? But thanks so much for having me, Deb. I love your decor, by the way. And so I wanted to grab something and hold it up. This is my Emmy. This is what a student Emmy looks like. They just give you a piece of paper, and then you have to frame it yourself. We don't get the big shiny trophy like you have. So this is now we match. Now
yes, we do. An Emmy is an Emmy, girl. They all count. Exactly. They all are really working hard. So
we're all out here doing the things.
Yep.
But yeah, before I dive in a little bit more, I want to, because we're Philly fans, right? We're Philly fans.
Go Birds.
Go Birds. Go Birds. We'll get to our Birds. But I live in Vegas now. That's where I'm located. I'm out here in Vegas, and I love Vegas. I really, truly do. You know how like LA is the city of broken dreams, they call it. Vegas, we're the city of broken people. And our mascot for that would be the Las Vegas Raiders. That's who we're really championing behind here. Oh God, I love the backstory behind the Raiders. I mean, kicked out of LA, booted out of Oakland, Vegas, baby. We welcomed them with open arms. We truly did. We're like, hey guys, yeah, come on in, make yourselves at home right next to the Tweakers and Carrot Top.
Yeah,
hey,
that's funny.
Is this PG-13?
Yeah, no, you're good.
Oh, okay, because I had a word I wanted to say, and I was like, wait a second. Let me check really quick.
The Raiders are right. Like, Raiders have always been like the bad boy of the NFL. Like, that's the way it is. And Vegas is perfect.
Perfect for it. And they're, the world's favorite away team. They can't get a fan base out here. It's a real statistic that more locals, they go to UNLV games than they do Raiders games. So the poor Raiders, they really are. But I like to call them my West Coast Eagles, though. I think the fan bases are pretty they're kind of similar, right? Bird Gang, we're the nitty gritty out there,
They're going to be walking around with their beers outside the stadium.
They take over, man. It's a wild thing out here. Chicago's coming into town. They're taking over the whole city. The Allegiant Stadium is always an away game. It's a phenomenon like I've never seen. Very crazy stuff. But I want to dive into. Wait, this is my Vegas hat. Let me switch hats. Let's talk birds.
Yes, wait, hold on. Let me grab one. Hold on.
Yes. Let's go. We're switching hats. We got multiple hats.
Okay. Here we go. All right, let's go.
Phenomenal. I love it, because this is what I want to say. So I am from Philly. But you know what? Important distinction. I'm not from the city of Philadelphia. I'm from the suburbs of Philadelphia, right? So I did Xanax and Percocets, not crack cocaine, and that's the difference. That's the difference between the suburbs and the city. But Philly, man, I have a bone to pick. I really do, because we've waited our whole lives to be a winning team, right? We've been in it. But there's this phenomenon happening right now where, have you seen people calling the Eagles America's team?
No.
Oh, let me tell you. Yes, Deb, it's happening. Like, comment sections online, they're like, I love the Eagles America's team. And I'm like, excuse me.
Whoa.
First of all, that was the name claimed by our arch rival, the Dallas Cowboys. Yes. How was that lost? But that was, we are not America's team in any way, shape, or form. And to call the Philadelphia America's team, you're taking away our advantage, which got us here. We are the underdogs. Hungry dogs run faster. No one likes us. We don't care. That's what we're built off of. Throwing snowballs at Santa Claus.
Yes, I still get slack with that. Every single time someone finds out I'm a Philly fan, they're like, "Oh, you threw snowballs." And we're like, "It wasn't me, and it was in 1975."
I wasn't even alive for that. And then there's batteries and there, whatever, Elon Musk, are you keeping track of everyone's batteries? But that's the Philly spirit. That's the nitty gritty. And everyone's calling them America's team. And America, stop it. You're going to take away that nitty gritty advantage. If you weren't here for Wing Bowl, you don't get to be here for Super Bowl. That's how I feel about that. We celebrated our losses. I saw Donovan McNabb blowing his Chunky's Campbell soup on the sidelines during the first Eagles-Patriots matchup. If you weren't around for that, then you don't get to be here to celebrate the wins, the blocked kicks. None of that would have happened without the nitty-gritty Philly spirit. My friend.
I agree completely. All right, Haley. Thank you. That was super funny. Thank you so much for being here. We will see you soon. Where can our audience find you?
Instagram at Haley Brooks is here. TikTok, Haley's Happy Hour.
Thank you so much for being here. We'll see you
Deb.
soon.
Bye.
Bye. All right, guys. Also, newcomer to the Blonde Blitz, clothing designer Mel. The clothing is here to give you your best game day fit to root on.
When I need the latest in style and entertainment, I tune into the Blonde Blitz.
Hi, Mel.
Hey, Deb, how are you?
I'm going to keep in the theme and continue wearing my Eagles hat.
I love it. I went with it. I mean, it's hard for me to actually do full Eagles, but I still did the colors. So.
Which it's so funny because I know you're also a Patriots fan. So we've had an Eagles Patriots theme this show apparently.
Oh yeah, I should have. Then if I would have just come full Patriots, but I was gonna do a little thing on the game day attire for Eagles. Styling.
Eagles had a huge game this past week, so I would love to know your game day fit for this Eagles game or for the next Eagles game.
Yeah, so I am a person that more is more, so I do the full shebang. I'll do sequins upon sequins, and I have blingy boots on. But I like to give people different ideas who are maybe a little more subtle than me. So so here I am just doing kind of like green, but it could also translate to the football field, so anyone could be wearing this. But and then I did a brown skirt to just make it very much all football. But if you are a true Eagles fan and a Saquon Barkley fan, you could just go all out and do a full-on dress. This actually was just a pun, but it says Sequin Barkley. So this is definitely for those people that are all out there. But I want to show just a couple of touches of ways you could style things, without, if you're not going to wear a dress to the game, you could just wear a football shirt and then pair it with like a green faux fur.
Yep.
And
by the way, just so we know, the audience know, Mel and I met at Super Bowl. We did a fashion show together, and I was in love with all of her designs. So I was like, you have to come on the Blonde Blitz and talk about your designs and how you put stuff together. So
thanks.
Background.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm kind of crazy, so like the way I think of things, but I style people of all different. I know I started and I'm like, for the subtle people, and then I took out the Saquon Barkley dress, but like I do a lot of purses and things that some people will wear. I'm going to take my fur off. It's a little hot. So I do like a lot of custom purses. So these ones are just generic colors, but you could do, Eagles black and then brown. For New England, I've been doing a lot of custom New England ones. And so I know like with the game day regulations, you're probably not getting in with this. I saw your clear one, which I love.
Yes, I do love my clear one
yeah.
too.
So I'm planning to do some custom clear ones in the color schemes of the different teams, but they're just ways to just be a little more subtle. But also I know that, if you're at an Eagles game in the winter, you're probably going to be cold. So I have a lot of cozy kind of things, and I do a lot of often, customize with the team, but this is just a generic, I love you a latte jacket. And at the Super Bowl, I did a dress for Dr. Jen Welter, and it was the football field. So she has that. But recently, I did an event with the Patriots Wives, And this was something I made. It was actually just a tablecloth, but I'm like, I feel like it could also be a dress, and it's the Eagles colors. So I am a totally extra person, but I just wanted to show some things. And I actually, from the Super Bowl, because I had made this helmet, so I had to bring it out for the Blonde Blitz. But yeah, so that's the what we have for Eagles. But
where can our audience find you? Where can we get all of this stuff?
So I have a website, meltheclothing.com, and then my Instagram is mel_the_clothing. And I do, like I said, different levels of sparkle and glam. So it's fun though.
And we'll see all your designs throughout the entire season. So we did Eagles this time. I'm sure we can do another team coming in the future. But thank you so much for being here.
Of course. Thanks for having me. It was so fun.
All right. We'll see you soon.
Okay. Bye, Deb.
All right, thanks. All right, guys. All this bling is making me hungry. Chef V, what yummy thing do you have for us today?
I used to make peanut butter and jelly for football. Then I watched the Blonde Blitz. And now my game day food is on a whole new level.
Hi Deb, what's up everybody? My name is Virginia Sunshine and I am a professional holistic private chef specializing in clean cuisine, which I lovingly dubbed culinary healthcare. Here are some other ideas. Chips and queso, make it something other than corn chips. I'm a huge fan of the Siete grain-free chips and their plant-based queso. If you really want to go down the pickle route, dill pickle cashew cream dip and some chips. And finally, of course, we cannot end any game day with something kind of sweet. So I took up some of these grain-free Mexican wedding cookies and ground them up, mixed them with some awesome probiotics, which is this Good Culture cream cheese, a little cocoa powder, some melted Hu chocolate gems, and there you have it. Make little balls. You can even make little footballs if you wanted. Dip in the chocolate and put in the fridge. Look at these cutie pies. Look. Are these adorable? Throw some crushed up hazelnuts on top of these and you're rocking. It's like a cake pop. Only better, cleaner. And because these are grain-free, they're gluten-free, and these are so good. You can always make them dairy-free by swapping out the cream cheese for a non-dairy version. So, cheers, y'all. Happy game day. Happy football season. Let's go Blonde Blitz.
All right, thanks so much, Chef V. We will see you soon. There have been so many injuries already, guys, in the NFL, and we're only going into week 4. I wanted to bring on my friend and the host of the Injured List podcast, Brian Scott, to talk all about them.
It's time to get your latest NFL injury updates with Brian from the Injured List podcast. The doctor is in.
Hey, Brian, how are you? Oh, you're on mute. You're on mute. We can't hear you.
Hey.
Oh, there we go. I took the hat off.
I put
it back
mine
on now. Hold on.
I said I can't sit by and watch this Eagles and Patriots talk happening. I've got to put my New York Giants NFC East hat on and,
we all have
and
our
show
team,
some support.
right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
But how about these injuries?
I'm excited to see Jackson Dart. I was with you at Combine, and remember, I was all about him at Combine, and now he's getting a shot. Very excited.
Well, listen, we've got nothing to lose. Again, another year, 0-3 start. Why not, right? Like, why freaking not? Let's
go. Brian, let's get into these injuries. So many. I feel like this is, maybe I said this last year too, but so many in the first couple of weeks of the season.
Deb, this is like the 6th year I've been doing injury updates and stuff for a variety of shows, yours included, and it just seems like every year the injuries just keep stockpiling up earlier and earlier. I mean, we're already now Joe Burrow, possibly, in my opinion, gone for the year, even though they're saying 3 months. I think it's going to be longer than that. I mean, even if it's 4 months, that's almost the end of the year anyway, so he's pretty much done. We just lost Nick Bosa with an ACL injury. He's out for the year. James Conner, a nasty-looking ankle fracture dislocation. He's going to be done. Najee Harris, another Achilles injury. Austin Eckler, an Achilles injury. Mike Evans just got put on IR with a hamstring issue. Aaron Jones is on IR with a hamstring issue. Just this past week, J.J. McCarthy, Brock Purdy, Jaden Daniels, and Justin Fields were all out due to various injuries. George Kittle, Cade Stover, Isaiah Likely, 3 top-tier tight ends, haven't even been playing because they started the season on IR. CeeDee Lamb just injured his ankle. Luckily didn't break it, but he's got a pretty gnarly-looking high ankle sprain. He's likely to miss several weeks. I mean, you pick a team, and I can tell you at least 2 or 3 guys on it that are dealing with injuries that are going to be lost with some time out. And
you literally just went through my entire list.
Well, I mean, these are big names. These are big names, not just in
Trayvon
football.
Diggs is the only one you missed. And Dallas, too. That was last week. But
yeah, it's just we've had a lot of guys, too, that aren't even back yet, like Brandon Ayuk. He's coming off ACL reconstructive surgery. I mean, there's guys that are still we're waiting for who haven't made it back yet. I mean, it's just crazy.
Why do you think this is happening? Is it too long of a season last season? Is it too many preseason games? What's your theory?
It's multifactorial. I've been saying this for several years now. Ever since they slimmed down the preseason games, ever since they kind of went years ago, they went from 2-a-days down to 1-a-days. They're not putting on pads as much anymore and doing as much contact in practice. And you add in the longer season with more weeks of games, it's just a bad recipe for guys breaking down when they normally wouldn't. Add in the fact that these guys got so much going on off the field with social media contracts, media appearances, sponsorship opportunities. They're all kind of dabbling in business and doing other stuff with all this money they're making. You have to wonder just how dedicated and how much time they're putting in the gym and preparing their bodies physically for the rigors of a full NFL season. Because back in the day when they didn't have all the other things going on, that's all they did. They ate, slept, and bred football, and they were prepared, and their bodies were able to stand up to the grind. It's just not the same anymore.
Yeah, they're out there doing media appearances and doing charity events and doing product launches and commercials. And although they do a lot of the commercials in the off season, but
but there's no way that you can sustain that type of schedule and still keep yourself in peak physical condition and avoid major injuries, unfortunately. And it's just a product of the game. It always has been. Maybe just because of the high profile nature of the league these days, that's also why we see it more now. We hear about it more now. But in my opinion, just covering this for the last 6 years or so, doing a lot of fantasy football work and doing the injury updates, it seems like every year it's just getting more and more significant players, not just in the fantasy world, but just as far as the skill
fantasy
level.
Is real,
but but also just the skill level and the positions. These skilled position players. It's every year. It's more and more.
Well, Brian, thank you so much for being on the Blonde Blitz. I would love to have you once a month, just come and check on in, and we'll talk about injuries and what your thoughts are as the season progresses. So thank you so much. Where can our audience find you?
Yeah, so I do the weekly updates with That Sports Podcast Network, our network, and I do those with TSS Fantasy on Friday nights and Sunday mornings. I also help out Fantasy Football Advice Network with Dan Mader on Operation Domination on Thursday nights. That's probably the most detailed injury updates I do. And then as we get later in the week with TSS, I do some quick updates just to kind of bring everybody up to speed before Sunday's games. So
awesome. Thank you so much. We'll see you soon.
All right. Take care.
All right, guys, let's get into some games, shall we? Please welcome third-generation sports betting expert Alex White to give us your best bet for Week 4.
It's time to get some NFL betting advice from Alex White and the Blonde Blitz. Win big so I can rob you later.
Hi, everyone. A little bit of a different look for me. I had a live podcast podcast here at Dom DeMarco's. If you're in Vegas, try it. Delicious food. But we got to find a bet for this week, week 4. Sorry, my theory didn't work last week. The Colts might just be the real deal. So got to find a winner. I know you saw a lot of overs, including that Monday night game between the Ravens and the Lions, but we're looking for unders this week, and I found one that is set at 47, the Jags and the Niners. I love this game staying under that total. Through 3 weeks, the Niners, 5th best in opponent yards per play at 4.4. Well, the Jags aren't far behind them. I like what I've seen from them defensively. They are 8th right now. Also, the Jags, 5th most rushing yards, so really leaning on ETN. I think we're going to see that happen again here in this game. It's going to be a slow slugfest between these two. We don't know who we have at quarterback, whether it is Brock Purdy or Mac Jones. Still a lot of injuries for the Niners, so they're going to lean on their run game with Christian McCaffrey as well. 47, way too high. Both of these teams are 2-1 to the under so far on the year. Let's keep that trend going and get back on the winning side here. Have a great show. I'll see you guys again next week. Thanks for having me. I'm Alex White.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Alice. Always so great to have you on the show. And of course, we can't talk sports betting without talking fantasy, right? Here's fantasy expert Ballers Meg with her advice for week 4.
When I'm looking for fantasy advice, I listen to Meg from TSS Fantasy.
Hi guys, welcome back to the fantasy football section of the Blonde Blitz. I'm Ballers Meg, and I'm coming at you with some hot picks for your fantasy teams this weekend. First up, we have Trey Benson over at the Cardinals. He has consistently put up points in the first 3 weeks, and they're facing the Seahawks this weekend. By no means an easy game, but definitely one to watch. Next up, my next pick would be Hunter Henry, tight end over at the Patriots. Now again, not an easy game this weekend. However, he has been putting up points consistently. He is one of these players who seems to be on the waiver wires a little bit more at the minute and is definitely one to pick up. He has got so much potential over there to try and make things happen. And it's one that I would definitely be keeping an eye out for sure this weekend. Finally, we have got Troy Franklin at the Bengals. So the Bengals are struggling a little bit at the minute. They're facing off at the Broncos this weekend. And I would say that he's a really good shout for a high scoring game. I think this is going to be one of those games where it's tit for tat and they're going to go head for head against every single point scored. And I think Troy Franklin is a really, really good shout for you for fantasy this weekend. I've been Ballers Meg. You can follow me at Ballers_Meg on all social media platforms if you want to hear more hints, tips and tricks for fantasy football.
Thanks so much, Meg. All right, Intuitive Reader 333S. Carrie is using her Power Deck cards next to predict the Chargers versus Giants game this week. Carrie, what you got?
Let's see what the Power Deck cards say about these NFL team futures.
Ask Carrie 333 here, giving the Power Deck and the results of what might be happening for the New York Giants hosting the LA Chargers in Week 4 game. So there's a lot to be said in this particular standoff. We have the Chargers coming off of a huge 3-0 season lead. That's right. They haven't done this. It's like they're undefeated for, this hasn't happened in 23 years, guys. So the Chargers have every bit to like really rally up and even though they're away from home, make things happen. So Justin Herbert being a Pisces, and Keenan Allen being a Taurus, it's a great, water and earth sign mix, you know, and together they're doing great. And head coach is also a earth sign, so that, you know, he has every bit of steadiness and ability to create the right foundation in order to make this another win for them, creating 4-0, being undefeated for the season. But before we could get there, let's talk about the New York Giants. So the New York Giants also, I mean, they have something. They have their fans. It's going to be at their home stadium, but is that going to be enough? So we have fire sign energy. This whole team is all about fashion, fusion, everything strategy. So quarterback Russell Wilson, who, he has his wisdom because he's a veteran at this. He's a Sagittarius, an immutable sign. So coming off of the solar eclipse that happened in Virgo, there's no doubt that he has everything to get organized and try to make this team come together and fuse. I just don't think, according to the cards, that it may happen because we have all low cards this time for the New York Giants. We have a 2 of hearts, which means that they have their fan base. Then they have the 4 of spades, which is kind of like a lull, or that they're not exactly in their flow. And then we have the 2 of diamonds, which means that they're looking ahead for a future win, maybe not this particular game. But let me say that, their kicker, Gano, is also a fire sign. So there's no doubt that there is definitely heated energy and passion to try to make some kind of numbers, put some numbers on the board. I have them at scoring 13 points. And then we have the Chargers. I have them at 27 though, because they have the 10 of diamonds, which is like career leading type of things happening. The Ace of Pentacles. They have a very fresh start, and they're not going to let their laurels, kind of get the best of them. They're going to really man up, suit up, and be present because they have the 10 of hearts, which is a 10 of cups. They are the favorited ones this particular game. So again, final score, Chargers 27, New York Giants 13. Back to you, Deb.
Thank you so much, Carrie. All right, guys, Ben Troupe is out again, unfortunately, this week. But Commissioner Cooper stepping up. He's been patiently waiting to help me with week 4 game picks. Here we go.
Bring in Deb and Troupe so we can get our NFL picks.
Commissioner Cooper, hello. You're on mute too. Everyone's muted today.
Sorry about that. When I play the videos, it doesn't mute me. So I was like, let me mute myself in case you hear anything that I'm saying.
Oh, good. We've got an Eagles, Patriots, Dolphins theme going on today on the blog.
Yeah, just to let I think it was Haley, let her know this is the new America's team. Just so we're clear.
I thought of you when she said it. All right, let's get into this week. We've got the Eagles Buccaneers game Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern. What do you got and why?
Yeah, well, I'm going to say this. You doubted your boys last week. I had to go here and step in and say something. But, this week is a tough task. The Bucs, 6 out of last 7, I believe, against the Eagles. In fact, my wife and I went over to, I think it was 2 years ago when they played in Tampa. I think it was the either wild card or divisional round. And the Bucs won. I was shocked, quite frankly.
Yeah,
because
I almost was at that game and I got COVID, so I couldn't go. So thank God I wasn't there because I would have been so upset.
Yeah, it's really interesting because, I always say this when I talk about sports. It's all about matchups, period. And then the Bucs seem to match up well against the Eagles. However, there is some chances of rain in this particular game. I looked it up, which I feel is more of an equalizer for the Eagles because they can get back to the ground and pound type of offense they want to run. But I think last week, and something just to kind of circle back on your interview with Tyrone, you guys were talking about that game and talking about how the special teams played a big part. Well, one thing you didn't point out was one thing that what Cardi did. He could have been MVP of that game. Those kickoffs were really messing up the Eagles. The way he was like a knuckleball almost, and it was messing them up all over the place. Well, they don't have Cardi over in Tampa, so you can expect better field position, a better placement for when they get the ball. So that I like the Eagles at the end of the day to win this game. I mean, I feel like if every time we bring up the Eagles, they're going to go undefeated, if you ask me.
Exactly.
I mean, they have that team. They can do it all. And I think also one other point to that game is I felt like after the second half, Their playing conservative football kind of was hurting them, and I think that woke them up a bit, which you saw more passes to A.J. Brown, which, he looks like a beast mode. So I think you're going to see them open things up a little bit more. The season's starting to go on a little bit. Not that they need this game, but it would be good to stick it back to Tampa, a team that's been a thorn in their side, so to speak.
Absolutely, yeah. And I mean, from the difference between the first half and the second half of that game with the Rams was just insane. And the first half, the Eagles didn't even look like they practiced, and then it turned into a passing game, and boom, they got it. So yeah, it was an insane game. I do think the Eagles are going to win this one. Historically, they're tied 9-9 is the record against each other for the Bucs. Interestingly enough, the last time these two teams played was almost exactly a year ago. So same week, same stadium, same time, just as they did last year. Unfortunately, the Eagles got whooped back then, but hopefully they win this one. We're dealing with two undefeated teams heading into week 4. It's 2 of only 6 teams left that are undefeated. I mean, it's going to be a really good game. I do think the Eagles are going to take this one. They're favored by 2.5, and I'm going to go Eagles as well.
And no Mike Evans is important, too, because Mike Evans hurt the Eagles last
Yeah.
time. So they have Emeka Egbuka, and that's it, pretty much. I mean, Sterling Shepard, they got a couple other guys, mind you. But as far as big play guys, him being out, I think is going to make a big difference as well.
I think the Eagles have this one. All right, let's go with Colts versus the Rams, Sunday at 4:05 p.m. Eastern. What you got and why?
So I feel like every week I'm just doubting the Colts because I'm like, this can't just still be happening.
It is.
I even picked the Titans on my
face
show. On my show, I picked the Titans last week because I was like, they're playing outdoors, I had this whole reasoning behind it. And they just came out and played like gangbusters. However, this is the week Dr. Jones goes down. I like the Rams. D obviously played the Eagles, the defending champions, very well. Obviously, special teams is good with Cardi kicking those strange kicks. I'm sure other teams are going to start to prepare for that now. But either way, I just think you're going to LA also. Not that they're East Coast, but it's still a little bit of a travel. They just went to Tennessee. Going into LA is going to be a tough task for these Colts. Even though they're the new-ish right now and they're still happy, but I think Dr. Jones going to find his snakes with the Rams this week.
Yeah, I do think the Colts are looking good. I mean, they're right now 3-0. Quarterback Daniel Jones is getting all the hype. Running back Jonathan Taylor, let's go. I don't think it's going to be enough to beat the Rams, though. I mean, the Rams look really strong that first half. Defensive Rookie of the Year Jared Verse out there. Their defense, the Rams defense is just stellar. Puna Ford, Landman. I mean, they're just a fantastic defense. The Colts are 23-21-2 overall against the Rams. The last time these two teams played was October 1st, 2023. The LA Rams won. What else do I got here? But yeah, I just the Rams are 3.5 favorites. I'll actually be at the Rams facility on Friday, so I'll get to interview all the players before the game. So that should be exciting. But yeah, you have to go Rams on this. Although I love what the Colts are doing this season.
And the Rams have won 4 in a row, actually, between the two teams. One other quick note, too. The Rams are number 1 defense against the run. So for me, I'm thinking, okay, they're going to stop Jonathan Taylor. Let's see what Dr. Jones got this week. I don't think it's going to be enough.
I agree. All right, let's do Ravens versus Chiefs, Sunday, 4:25 p.m. What you got and why?
All right, so before I throw the prediction out, if you would have told me these two teams are going to go into this game both 1-2, somebody's coming out 1-3. Wow, that is just crazy to me. But so going back to something that you guys also were talking about with Tyrone, why tackle Derrick Henry when you could just try to punch the ball out? That, in my mindset, if I'm a cornerback and I see that guy coming, I'm like, I'm going to vote for trying to punch the ball out, which seems to be something that teams are keen on. However, I think, right now still, I think the Ravens are just a better overall team. I think they can explode offensively way faster than the Chiefs can, even though this is in Kansas City. This is a tough game to pick. But I think we're going to go back. I'm going to go back to that old whoever has the ball last wins this football game. And I'm going to stick with Lamar Jackson. Even though that they lost a couple days ago, whatever it was, right. I still had faith in Lamar Jackson, where I don't have that faith in Pat Mahomes anymore. There was Xavier Worthy's coming in here. Maybe he's going to play this week with a sling. I mean, that can't be good. So anyway, long story short,
I have him on my fantasy. So
yeah,
he does play, but
it's been a tough year for the Chiefs. But yeah, I think Lamar pulls it out. Derrick Henry's going to be running on a mission. Kind of like you said, he's been fumbling the last couple of games, might have cost them those games. So he's going to come out like a man on a mission this week, and I like the Ravens in the matchup.
Okay. I think I'm going to go Chiefs. I just don't trust the Ravens now, to be honest. I think they're a great team. Literally, the very first game, I was texting, one of my good friends who's a Ravens fan. I was like, they're going to Super Bowl. And then the Bills beat them. Like, it was just, what is happening here? And I haven't been impressed with what the Ravens can do. I just don't see it. So the Chiefs have an 8-4 record against the Ravens all time. Last time these two teams played was September 5th of 2024. The Chiefs barely won this game. And interestingly enough, whoever loses this game will have a hard time making the playoffs, which is crazy because we're talking about the Ravens and the Chiefs here. The Ravens defense so far through 3 games has not been great. They've allowed 96 points in 3 weeks. And let's be honest, the Chiefs offense is looking shaky. I mean, Kelsey's just not in the game. Mahomes is, but you gotta have your weapons around you too. The Chiefs are favored by 2.5 or 2.5. I don't love picking the Chiefs, but I really don't have a choice. So I'm gonna go with who's favored.
And they've won 6 out of last 7 of these matchups. So, again, as I mentioned earlier with the Bucs and the Eagles, it is all about matchups. They just seem to match up well against them. However, again, we talked about, actually one point I want to make real quick before I forget. The Chiefs need this game more, actually, because when you think about it, you said about a hard time in the playoffs. Well, think about this. The Chiefs got to deal with right now the surging LA Chargers, period.
Mm-hmm.
The Ravens got to deal with the broke down Steelers, the Bengals, who are also broke down, and then the Browns. Those are the 3 teams they have to deal with. I mean, right now, KC's got a big mammoth with the Chargers. So they really need this game more this week. But again, still like the Ravens.
All right, let's do one more. Packers versus Cowboys, Sunday, 8:20 p.m.
Oh, this is the easy. I'm going to sit back and relax for this one. This is definitely the Green Bay Packers. I mean, I think last week was a big anomaly, quite frankly. And not really even that. The Browns' defense is really good, period. Like, the offense isn't quite there, but their defense is still one of the best in the league. I know it's crazy to say, but they are. I think they just ran into maybe Green Bay was looking a little bit past this Browns team, whatever it may have been. But this Dallas defense is putrid. So when
the whole team's awful,
it's really bad. Now I can see a world where the Cowboys have a good stat line, like Dak Prescott could probably have a good stat line this week because he's going to be having to throw that football this week because I think Jordan Love and I think this offense is going to really take off this week because, again, the Cowboys defense is trash.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm dubbing this game the Micah Parsons revenge game. I cannot wait to see it. I cannot wait to see Parsons go after Dak. So historically, Green Bay is 22-17 against the Cowboys. The last time these two teams saw each other was the 2023 NFC Wild Card, where the Packers steamrolled the Cowboys 48-32. It will be a similar score this week. Obviously, CeeDee Lamb is out, top wide receiver. I don't think the Cowboys have much after him. They also lost Kenny Clark and Trayvon Diggs. And obviously the Packers are looking to bounce back, but again, I think it was a fluke, and I think Green Bay is going to be one to deal with. to deal with this season. The Packers are favored by 6.5. I'm going Packers for sure.
Well, it's funny you say that. I want to close out your show tonight, give one last bit of fantasy advice. So come on over, watch TSS Fantasy on Sunday morning. We do a fun bit where we do it's all wrestling theme, but it's the ultimate DFS lineup. And here's mine for this week. As you can see, my long locks looking crazy. But I like, obviously, Jordan Love, like I just talked about it. The Cowboys, as it stands right now, are dead last in the league against fantasy quarterbacks. So why not go for the gusto there? You got to like Marion Hampton, too, with the Chargers. I mean, going to the running backs. My bad. I was kind of skipping ahead here. Chargers right now, I mean, they have no Najee Harris. So all you have right now is Marion Hampton, who is playing the Giants, and they are 29th against fantasy running backs. This is a great play. And he's coming in at $5,900. Like, how could you not grab that at such a cheap price? Then I went with the rookie Ashton Genty. I know he hasn't done a lot this season thus far, but he's playing, guess who? The Chicago Bears. They're 27th against fantasy running backs, so you got to love the matchup. Going back to that Chargers game with Quentin Johnson, who's coming up as of late, getting a lot of targets, which means, guess what? A lot of fantasy points if he catches them, of course. But he's kind of turned the page. He used to be a big dropper, but he's not anymore. And the Giants are 31st against fantasy receivers, so it's a great play. Matthew Golden, I just be honest with you, I wanted to pair somebody up with Jordan Love, and I've seen this connection almost hit a few times already. So I really like the matchup, obviously, as well. The Cowboys, guess what? Dead last against fantasy receivers. So again, good matchup, good play there. Courtland Sutton with the Denver Broncos playing those Cincinnati Bengals we were just talking about. They're actually 16th against fantasy receivers. However, that's because teams get up on them so early and they just run the football. So why not? And I actually think Jake Browning might have a nice bounce back, even though it is Denver. I can see him making a decent play this week. Now, if the Packers got one bugaboo, it's against tight ends. They're like 22nd against fantasy tight ends. So I'm going to go with the Cowboys, Jake Ferguson at that tight end slot. As I mentioned earlier, you can see a world where the Packers get up big. The Cowboys are going to have to throw the football. You just mentioned no CeeDee Lamb. Here's another great target for him with Jake Ferguson. And then on my flex spot, I went with Nico Collins. And there's somebody else I feel that's going to have a good fantasy game that hasn't had one in a while is CJ Stroud. And they're playing the Tennessee Titans, who, by the way, are not very good against fantasy receivers. They are, I had it here in front of me and I lost it. They are 28th against fantasy receivers. And listen, at the end, they just traded one of their starting cornerbacks to the Jets. So now they're even worse. So I like Nico Collins and CJ Stroud to have a good game. And we'll finish it off with the Broncos playing the Bengals. You know how it is. So there it is. That's a little ending for you guys. So there you go.
Of course. Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you so much for stepping in this week. Ben should be back next week. Thank you so much.
We'll hopefully see him on No Weddings in the Fall next week, too.
Yes. All right, guys. Today's show was sponsored by Wish LBI and Underdog Fantasy. Go to Underdog Fantasy and use promo code BLONDE, and we'll double your deposit up to $100. If you like today's show, please subscribe, and you can follow us on all socials at The Blonde Blitz. Guys, thank you so much. We'll see you next week. Football forever, and go Birds.